Edinburgh has this thing it does to you. You turn off the main street, you walk down one of these little alleyways they call closes, and suddenly the noise drops, the light changes, and you realize you're walking on stones that people have been walking on for over 1,000 years. This is the city that inspired the Harry Potter universe, the city sitting on top of an extinct volcano, and one of the only places in Europe where you can hike a proper mountain at lunchtime and be back in time for an afternoon pint. I used to live here. I ran a travel agency that specialized in Scotland, and I worked as a tour guide bringing groups around this place. So this is not going to be the same recycled top 10 list every other travel video gives you. This is everything you actually need to know before you go to Edinburgh. And also a couple of mistakes that ruin your Edinburgh trips and how to avoid them. So after watching this video, you'll know where to go if you want to experience a more local side of the fabulous capital of Scotland. A quick word on the obvious stuff. Most people come to Edinburgh for the old town, and they should. It is one of the most beautiful medieval city centres in Europe, and you can spend half a day just wandering it. Edinburgh Castle sits on a 350 million year old volcanic rock at the top of the city, and it has been a fortress for over 900 years. From the castle you walk down the Royal Mile, which runs all the way to Holyrood Palace at the bottom. Yes, parts of it are touristy, and yes, some of the shops sell mass-produced tartan bollocks. But the architecture is incredible, and walking this street is part of the experience. Do it once, end to end. The real magic though is one step off the main drag. These are called closes, narrow alleyways that branch off the Royal Mile, leading to hidden courtyards and stone staircases. Pick a few, duck into them, and just see where they go. While you're walking the Royal Mile, make sure to pop into St. Giles Cathedral. It's free, the interior is stunning, and it takes you 10 minutes. There's no excuse to skip it. A few minutes from the Royal Mile you'll find Victoria Street, the curved colourful street that supposedly inspired Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. It is the most photographed street in the city for good reason. There are also some pretty nice shops down here, so it's worth more than just a quick photo. Victoria Street drops you into Grassmarket, a beautiful historic square right below the castle. Worth walking through, but maybe don't eat or drink at the pubs around the square, because some might call them tourist traps and no local would ever go here for food or even a pint. So that is the standard old town walk that most people will do. And do it, enjoy it and take your photos, but if you don't follow my next advice, you will miss out. There's a thing you need to book before you get on the plane to Scotland. Edinburgh has so many stories baked into every street, every close and every building that if you just walk around on your own, you'll miss most of it, you know. You'll see the beautiful things, but you will not understand what you're looking at. So a guided walk with a proper local guide changes the whole trip. Some tours focus on the dark history, some focus on Harry Potter, and some on the food or the whiskey. Just pick the angle that suits you. You can scan this code and check out reviews from other travelers, and then pick one that looks right for you and book it before you arrive, because the good ones sell out too. And with that out of the way, it's time to get high. Edinburgh is a city you have to see from above, so here are the best viewpoints. Number 1. Carlton Hill. If you only have time for one viewpoint, this is it. It takes 2 minutes to walk up here from Princes Street in the city centre. It's a fairly easy path and the view covers the castle, Old Town, Arthur's Seat and out to the sea. This is a great place to get a feel for Edinburgh, so consider doing it on your first day here. Second, Arthur's Seat, the actual extinct volcano in the middle of the city. But this is a proper hike that takes maybe 45 minutes up, and the view from up here is next level, so I highly recommend that if you fancy a proper hike. And now let's talk a bit about one of the most important decisions you must make before going to Edinburgh. Where you stay in Edinburgh changes the whole trip. From up here you can see most of the 4 neighbourhoods I'm going to talk about, which is convenient because the city is small enough that none of them are more than a 20-30 minute walk apart. First, over there we've got the Old Town. That is the obvious choice if it's your first time in Edinburgh, because when you walk out the door in the morning you are in the medieval city. You got the castle, the Royal Mile and Grassmarket. They are all right there on your doorstep. And if you're traveling with kids, this is also where you want to be, because at times it feels like you're walking around a film set, and the castle alone is Disney level for a 6-year-old. Even when I lived here and wanted to, act a bit cool, calm and collected, I kind of gravitated towards the Old Town a bit when I was out walking or running. It's just such an interesting place to stroll about and get lost. The downside is that everyone wants to stay there, which means 3 things. Prices are high. The streets are properly loud, especially during the festival season or late at night. And the cobblestones outside your window will wake you up at 7 in the morning when the delivery vans start rolling past. And the other thing to know is that you're staying inside properly old buildings, so do not expect, modern facilities or a 5-star hotel with a spa and a massive swimming pool. You're paying for the location and the atmosphere, not for the gym. And that said, I just remembered that I've actually stayed over there at a pretty nice hotel that had a nice indoor swimming pool right in the heart of the Old Town. I'll leave a link to that hotel and some of my other favorites over there in the description below. For most first-time visitors with 2 or 3 days in Edinburgh, the Old Town is the best area to stay. You wake up in the middle of the medieval city. You can walk to almost everything without ever needing a bus or a tram or a taxi, and the evenings here are pretty special. And secondly, New Town. We've got it right down there, and it's right across the valley from the Old Town, but it's a completely different feel. You've got wide Georgian streets, elegant squares, and perhaps a little bit of a more local atmosphere. And New Town was actually built between the 18th and the 19th century as a planned answer to the chaos over in the Old Town, and you can definitely feel the difference the moment you cross over. Princes Street here is Edinburgh's answer to Oxford Street in London. So if you want to shop, this is where you do it. And another street worth knowing about is Rose Street, which runs parallel and is packed with loads of pubs, restaurants and shops as well. And because Old Town is everyone's first choice, staying here in the New Town is often a bit cheaper, and you are still only like a 5-minute walk from the Old Town and everything that matters as a tourist. So this is where I usually tell people to stay if the Old Town is fully booked or it just feels too expensive. Third, Stockbridge. And this is where I actually lived a big chunk of my time in Edinburgh, and it's a totally different area compared to the Old Town and the New Town. Stockbridge is a 15-minute walk from the city centre, and it feels like a village inside the city. You've got independent shops, brilliant cafes, some of the best pubs in Edinburgh, and a proper community feel. So if you've been to Edinburgh before, or you just want to feel like you live here rather than visit, this is where to stay. And I'll take you on a full walking loop through this area later in the video, because it is one of my favorite parts of Edinburgh, and you need to at least visit this part of town. Fourth and final area, Leith, down there, the working class neighbourhood, and the one that has changed the most in the last 20 years. There are, I think, 3 Michelin-star restaurants, and the hipster scene moved here years ago. So this is now where you'll find some of the best craft beer bars and cocktail spots, and some of the best small restaurants in the whole city actually. The good news is that the tram now runs directly from the city centre up to Leith in around 15 minutes, so you are not cut off from anything. And one of the top reasons to stay in Leith is definitely Leith Shore, the old harbour area where the bridges, the boats and a row of waterfront pubs just come together very nicely. Like Stockbridge, this is not where I would put a first-time visitor with just 2 days in Edinburgh. But for someone who has been to Edinburgh before, or anyone who values a great food scene over proximity to the castle, Leith is brilliant. And now I want to share my secret little walking route of a part of Edinburgh that used to be very much off the tourist trail. You start here on the bridge in the Dean village. This little pocket of old buildings tucked into a valley right next to the city centre is no longer a little hidden gem. It's exploded on social media. I've even heard about some weird Danish travel blogger who made an Instagram reel about it and it got over 5 million views. So it's not a secret anymore, but it's a cute little part of town, and from the Dean village you pick up the Water of Leith path, which I'm on right now. It's a riverside walk that takes you all the way to the Stockbridge area, which is my favourite part of Edinburgh. The walk along the river is quite amazing and you're like 10 minutes away from the busy part of town, but it feels like being in the countryside. When you come out of the path, you are right in Stockbridge. And while you're here, take a quick detour down Circus Lane if you want to see one of the prettiest little streets in Edinburgh. From Circus Lane, you head back onto the Stockbridge High Street. This is the main street through the neighbourhood. There are loads of independent shops, cafes, and I will come back to the pubs and food in a minute because that is your reward at the end of the loop. For now, keep walking a bit, about 5 more minutes and you'll hit this fantastic little park. This is Inverleith Park, a massive green space, brilliant for just wandering, and there's this little pond with a hill rising up behind it. You've got the whole skyline laid out in front of you and you will share it with a couple of locals, you know, dog walkers and 0 tourists. I know it doesn't look good on a great day, but nothing does. Trust me, it's a nice place. When you head back towards Stockbridge, do not just retrace your steps. Go down through Glenogle Road here and maybe Saxe Coburg Street and just take a slow walk through all the little side streets down here. And now you've earned that pint. So the Bailie Bar is the proper local boozer around here, the kind of place where regulars have their own seats. For food, Knock's Kitchen does excellent Thai food, and the Scran and Scally is the slightly fancier option, and there are honestly just loads of brilliant little cafes and restaurants here. So that whole loop from the bridge in Dean Village to a pint back in Stockbridge takes you maybe 2 hours with stops. An amazing little detour from the Disneyland tourist atmosphere in the old town. If you have 4 days in Edinburgh or more, you have to do a day trip to the Highlands. Trust me. Edinburgh is one of the only major cities in Europe where you can be in proper wild mountain country within 2 hours. You've got Glencoe, Loch Ness and the Glenfinnan Viaduct where they filmed Harry Potter. You can get to it all from here rather easily, and there are 2 ways to do this. Option 1, obviously rent a car and drive yourself. This works fine and the roads are easy enough, but you spend the whole day looking at the road instead of the view and you miss all the stories. Option 2, take a guided minibus tour, and this is actually what I recommend. You'll go with a small group, a real guide who is usually properly Scottish and usually a brilliant storyteller. You see more, you learn more, and you don't have to think about anything except looking out the window. So if you have the time, do not skip the Highlands. Edinburgh is brilliant, but the country it sits in is the real prize, to be honest. From the airport, you can take the tram. The ticket is £7.50 and it runs every 7 minutes, I think, and drops you right on Princes Street, right in the center of town. The Airlink 100 bus is roughly the same speed and £1 cheaper if the tram is busy or you just want to ride the bus instead of the tram. I would skip taxis, they are expensive and there's an airport surcharge on top. I had to take one the other day because I arrived quite late and I think it cost me £43. And usually this is where I'll have a whole dedicated section about public transport. But to be honest, once you are in the city, just walk. Edinburgh is small enough that you can get almost everywhere on foot. You know, the old town to Stockbridge is 30 minutes maybe. There are obviously loads of bus lines and they can be convenient, but the traffic in the city centre is also pretty horrendous in the peak hours. So I personally always avoid them, and if I need to head out to Leith Shore, for example, I just get the tram there. And finally, when to actually come to Edinburgh. April to June is my favorite. This is May. September is also brilliant, you know, the light goes golden and the crowds maybe thin out a little bit. Avoid August unless you're coming for the Fringe Festival, which is a big comedy and arts festival that takes 3 weeks in August. So the city basically doubles in size and hotel prices triple, and if you have not booked a year ahead, you'll struggle to even find a nice place to stay. But if you are coming for the Fringe, embrace the chaos. If you're not, come a month on either side of August. Alright guys, I've been to all over this planet and Edinburgh is one of my favorite cities in the entire world. I hope it shined through in this video and that you have got some ideas that haven't been mentioned in all the other travel guides. And like, subscribe, kiss your wife, bye bye.